General George Washington, Nathaniel Greene, Benedict Arnold, and Charles Cornwallis. Jeff Shera and the American Revolution is on at noon Eastern.
Well, Caryle Murphy, we spent an hour with you on book notes, so I'm going to ask you to just do a real quick capsule for people that didn't see the hour. What do they get in your book?
This is a description through the stories of individual characters I met in Egypt of the historical forces that have come together to create the conditions that give rise to religious extremism. But the main part of the book is about the Islamic revival, and I break it down into 4 different levels. This first level is the personal devotion, the second level is political Islam, then I have the cultural Islam, and then new thinking in Islam, or the theological level. But then I go and explain in the book that there are 2 other big forces that are happening now in the Middle East that have contributed to the turmoil, along with Islam's revival. And that is the authoritarianism of Arab governments, the lack of political liberties, and the third is the long-running Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which many Arabs blame the United States for prolonging. So once you get all those things and mix them up, you have a very volatile brew. But that's really not so new. A lot of people know that. What I've tried to explain in the book or get across is telling this through the stories of individual people.
Is the West and its Judeo-Christian traditions and the East with its Islamic traditions more alike or more different?
I think they're more alike. You know, Islam is the 3rd monotheistic religion to come out of the Middle East. Islam builds on Christianity and Judaism, just like Christianity built on Judaism. But in all religions, you get fringe fanatics, and that's what we're seeing in groups like Al-Qaeda. Unfortunately, right now, fringe groups like Al-Qaeda are getting sympathy from wide swaths of the population because of these other things I've talked about. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, the lack of political liberties, and this internal turmoil inside the religion because of Islam's revival, and the failure of Islam to articulate moderate, modern theologies of their sacred texts.
You just told one of your readers that you think people are hungering for a book like this right now. As you have traveled the country and talked to people, are they more curious or more afraid after 9/11?
Curious or what? No, they are curious, very curious. I wrote a piece 5 days after September 11th in the Washington Post, which said really the theme of my book. I received over 100 emails. I have never had such a response from any article I've written in my whole career. And about 50% of them said, "Thank you, now I understand a little bit." I don't think, maybe Americans are generally a bit more fearful, but when it comes to, they really do want to understand the background to this.
Is it being sold in other countries?
Not yet. I hope eventually that it will be. I think most publishers wait to see how the book does here before they decide to try to sell it overseas.
And have you gotten any numbers yet? Do you know how it's doing?
I don't. I gather from the reception I'm getting when I'm doing readings in bookstores that people are buying it. A couple of bookstore managers told me that it's selling quite well. They told me they liked it themselves. And I've had like 60 to 80 people come to listen to me speak. And the store managers tell me that those are pretty good crowds for a book, non-fiction book.
When you described people writing and saying thank you for telling the story, have you heard from Muslims saying thank you or saying you have it right or you don't have it right?
No, I hear from Muslims a lot, especially for that story, and Muslims are buying my book because they feel that their religion has been misrepresented. I'm critical of some Muslims in this book, but I'm not critical of Islam itself. Islam, like Christianity and Judaism, is really neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It depends on how the people live the faith, which is good or bad.
The book is A Passion for Islam, a recent book notes selection, and here at the National Press Club book event tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.